Hey, you're watching Voice of the Heroes with Henry Dittman and your boy, Fleeboy Jetson.
Welcome back to Voice of the Heroes. I'm your host, the one and only one, Fleeboy Jetson. And if you're tuning in for the first time, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, click that notification bell so you can be notified for upcoming videos and live debates and discussions from your favorite heroes and villains from across the world. And today we got a great interview and a special guest. She is the voice of Jubilee from XMen 97, streaming right now on Disney Plus. Holly Chou, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for coming once again. For the people that's new to the X-Men franchise or that's new to X-Men 97, tell us a little bit about your character, Jubilee.
Okay. Well, in the original series, Jubilee was sort of the audience surrogate, She was new to the team. She'd run away from her foster home. She became the sort of the newbie and the only kid really, a teenager. Entering the world of the X-Men. So we saw everything through her eyes. We watched her struggles sort of being taken seriously, still being kind of a kid growing up, all of that. And then in X-Men 97, we have sort of a new newbie in Sunspot, Roberto. So Jubilee is sort of showing him the ropes. They're still the only two that are sort of around the same age. So it's she's got a peer, but she's sort of taken him under her wing. And we're sort of seeing her in X97 figure out her path in adulthood and her role on the team.
Yeah, and I love the similarities between Sunspot and Jubilee and the relationship that they got. Even right now, currently, no spoilers, but they have like a love-hate thing going on that we see also in the new episode. How exciting was it for you to jump on this cast of X-Men? And was you a fan of the original?
Yeah, very much so. Unbelievable. So you're talking about having jitters, like talking to like cast members, like we're a big deal or something. But like, this is the thing that so many of us on the cast, I know AJ and I know Isaac and I have talked about it, and and like we're all such geeks about the original, and it plays such a huge role in our childhoods, our Saturday mornings. And so to first of all be part of the project at all, I could, I could voice reporter number 3. I would be very thrilled. But to get to be an X-Man and to be Jubilee, who I will say that when I was a kid, I was all about Rogue. I also loved Storm. I also loved, I loved everybody in turn. But Jubilee had her own special role as one of the few Asian Americans that we kids, on the playground, saw growing up, such that we weren't sure that she actually was. We had to pause I've talked about this before, but we had to pause the tape when the Sentinel in the first episode like sort of scans her and it says that she's Chinese American. It's like, oh, okay, she's one of our there's one. So yeah, to get to portray her and to I've had a lot of Asian American fans come up and say how important the character is to them. And to get to participate in that legacy and play this particular role, I mean, it's literal childhood dreams come true. I like day dreamt about this walking home from school, was like, what's my mutant power today? And what if an attack came right now? From here to here.
Yeah,
But
I'm stoked for you, man. How does it feel to have your very own Funko Pop collection too?
oh
At
yeah,
Jubilee and that
collectibles.
episode.
Yeah, no action figures yet, but yeah, we got 2 Funko Pops. I haven't seen I don't know if they're out yet. The pixelated one from Motendo's out, but I haven't seen the sort of like regular one. I don't know if what I saw was only like trailers or promotional for an upcoming product,
I'm
or if
glad
it's
you
out now. But
I'm glad you talked about that. Let's talk about the episode Nintendo because you get to actually work aside the original voice actress of Jubilee. How was that?
amazing, it was brilliant. She and I had not had any direct contact. At one point in recording, I think maybe I laid down the original, and then when I went back for ADR, I heard her, or I don't remember if they had already recorded her when I was recording for the first time for this episode. But to hear her voice back, and I had seen, in the press and stuff like that, Allison's been very vocal about not coming back for Jubilee and stepping down in favor of an Asian American actor. And so I knew the move sort of like the move in general sort of had her blessing, but hearing her voice in playback, hearing her character talk to mine, having her
Yeah.
talk to me, was very moving and a, a sort of step into um moving from being just like the fan who's allowed to touch a part of this world into actually being colleagues, being peers,
Yeah, I thought it
being
was amazing
coworkers.
and very creative by the writers and creator. All right.
Absolutely.
We also heard talks about the success of X-Men 97. Congratulations on that. Raving reviews, taking the internet by storm. One of the best MCU projects or Marvel projects that's ever hit Disney Plus. Kevin Feige's talking about actually bringing it to canon in the Sacred Timeline, which most fandom, X-Men fandom, Marvel fandom is stoked about. And they're talking about not only a third season, but a movie. The director said that they would like to do. Would you, how dope would that be? And what would the storyline be like if you was to create a movie for X-Men?
I don't know what the scuttlebutt is the idea that the animated, like it would be a movie of X-Men 97, or you're just saying that they're gonna make movies and bring them into the sort of
No,
the
I'm saying
MCU?
that they want to
Okay.
do a third season, right? And then the directors want to do a movie of X-Men 97,
Oh,
which I
okay.
thought was
Okay.
really, kind of a good way to go, especially with the success of Across the Spider-Verse and other Marvel animation movies that's been getting a lot of buzz. I
I
think an
mean,
X-Men 97 movie would go crazy.
I think that'd be great. You also happen to be talking to somebody that really believes in television as a medium. Like I like episodics, and I think that what's possible in episodic television is different than what's possible in a movie. So I think if you're going to make a movie out of something, it should be because you have to. There's something that you want to do or say that can only work, that can only be told in this medium, right? So
Yes.
whatever cannot be put into whatever cannot be accomplished in the TV show in this format, that's where you have to make a movie, right? So which I absolutely think would be the case if with given this team and this um format's not the right word, but I think this infrastructure, it seems like if they're, what's been true so far about the TV show, thankfully, is that it's a case of like, if you're gonna do it right, do it good.
Yeah, and they
So
are
I,
really doing it right. It's like they're
yeah,
ripping pages out the comic book.
absolutely, absolutely. And so I think that it'd be true not just that it would slap, first of all, whatever they come up with, but it would be something that's so special and so unique that it needed to be told in a movie.
Yeah, and I think it could work because as we seen with maybe anime, like let's say Demon Slayer, for example, every time they transition into a new season, the first season is usually a
Movie.
movie,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
it becomes a three-part episode. But I'm glad you said television is your favorite source of media, right?
It's
With the
one of them,
release of
yeah.
X-Men 97 and all the success it's had, it's actually been questioning, should more platforms release their content as far as television goes weekly, based on just throwing everything out there at once? Because with X-Men it gives you time to you know take in everything
Marinate.
that just happened, and it's like, and it's a lot. So how do you like to watch your media? Do you like to binge? Like, is because I know me, sometimes, man, I might sit at home over the weekend and watch every
Right,
episode
right,
of
right, right.
something. Or do
It
you like the traditional week by week?
it depends on how anxiety inducing something is. If I definitely am guilty of like skipping to the end of a book. I'm just like, I don't like this. I'm just gonna I'm not enjoying the anticipation. I'm just gonna look at what okay, it's gonna be okay. Okay, now I can go back and read like you know, the sort of calmness. I don't do it with everything, you know. So I think the same is true for episodic television in my mind, is that I think that some things are now um are designed to be binged. I think that's how some shows are structured and how they're planned. And so if that's the form that it was meant to be in, I think that's the form that I would consume it in. If it's something where it is, as with X97, I think a callback to Saturday morning cartoons, where it's like you had to wait till
Sure.
next week. You had to wait all summer to see if Ross and Rachel got together, you know, or
That
what was
is
gonna,
true. You
you
ain't
know.
telling no lies.
It's sort of like somebody was telling me about an argument that they had with somebody about the original run of Watchmen. And so they said that somebody called it a graphic novel, or no, somebody got mad that it was called like a comic instead of a graphic novel, and she was like, it's a graphic novel. I'm like, actually no, when it was first released, like, didn't they do it issue by issue? Just because it's been put into a compilation now, that's not the way that it was formulated and intended to be consumed when it was written. So I feel like you have to, I mean, you don't have to, you can watch stuff however you want to, but
Sure.
I feel like be uh there might be something that the creators have is optimized by consuming it in the way that the creators like intended.
I agree with you. And me personally, I'm on the fence about both of them because there's shows like, for example, X-Men 97 and shows like Game of Thrones where you want that week to like, it makes time just that much special for the next episode instead of watching. And don't get me wrong, sometimes a show might come out like the Fallout series that came out on Amazon Prime where I just wanted to sit home and watch that the whole weekend.
Right, and
I
some of them
do.
are designed in this way, right? It's like
Mhm.
if their goal, and especially now with streaming platforms, that like if their goal, like, I don't know, streaming, whatever the metrics are, I'm not in that part of the business, but I think that there are some projects where the goal is like, don't make it so compelling that they won't get up to pee. You know what I mean? Like like the skip credits, everything's designed to get you to just to keep watching in a loop. And or not loop, but in a continuous stream. So if that's the goal, that might be the content that they've sought out in order to encourage people not to click away, not to close the browser, and just let,
Yeah. Get
the
that watch
credits
time.
minimize and the skip intro, and it just skips to the next one because it's specifically leading you to try to get this format that they want, which is one after the other.
Well, we all
Um
know we ain't skipping that X-Men 97
no,
intro. Y'all better
sacrilege,
not be out there skipping that intro.
right?
But
I will fight you.
now there's been a lot of talk with the X-Men reboot inside the MCU. Cast, writers, directors, they've been calling out all types of rumors. Today, Ryan Coogler was one of the directors they want to bring back. And if you couldn't act as Jubilee, what actress would you like to see portray the role?
You know, the thing with Jubilee, because she is younger, that the actors that sort of swirl around in my mind are maybe at one time they were this age, but by now they're all playing Absissa, right?
Mm.
So I feel like because it's a younger person, I feel like somebody undiscovered would be really exciting, you know?
Ooh.
And especially when it comes to Asian talent, because the unfortunate thing, it's three steps forward, two steps back, right? Like it's there's never been a better time to be a non-white actor in this into this industry, and at the same time, the same old. Can I swear on this show? I don't know.
Yeah, you can.
The same old shit, right? The same old shit. So there's an element to which like Aquafina, hits it big and then like, oh, great. But then all of a sudden, every single breakdown is like an Aquafina type. We want Aquafina. Make it Aquafina. That's all anybody's writing. That's all anybody envisions. That's all anybody will cast for. And it's
Yeah.
boring for everybody, right? No, like, no shade to Aquafina. That's great. But the whole point is that she's doing a particular thing, and to have just everybody suddenly just, to try to force everybody to just do that is like, nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to do that, you know?
True
So
indeed.
I feel like for Jubilee, I mean, I think that there is talent that can um that can reinvent itself and break out. But there are so many talented actors and especially so many talented non-white actors that we don't know about them yet. And I feel like one of those is perfect, right? Like um I hope I'm getting her name right. Is it Iman Vellani who plays Ms. Marvel? That wonderful Canadian actress who's
Miss
Daisy and
Marvel, like, I
Miss
think it is. Yeah, I think that's her name.
Yeah. So
I believe
she's a
so.
revelation to me. And I'd never heard of her before she got cast and I saw her in
And
Ms.
she's
Marvel. She's
actually
fantastic.
perfect for the
She is
role.
fantastic. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
she's
saying.
perfect for the
Is
role.
that if you had said like, oh, it needs to be who's big? Zendaya, I'm sure Zendaya would do a great job. But like this is the person that it was supposed to be. And so I feel that way about an opportunity for a younger character like Jubilee, as just like somebody so perfect is out there. And if it can't be me, I mean, I guess we might as well send the elevator down for somebody who's
What was you doing before acting, and what inspired you to be an actress?
I've kind of always been there may not have been a before acting.
Mm.
Because even as I don't know, single digit ages, I was watching way too much TV and reading a lot and reading aloud a lot. And I feel like that kind of just lends itself to school plays and things like that. But honestly, it's probably traced back to just watching so much TV and enjoying TV and movies and plays where I think we may even have seen some live plays because my brother is 7 years older, and so when I was in elementary school, I think he would have been doing high school plays and stuff like that. So we would have
Mm.
gone to see those. It was just part of the makeup of the household. Um, and then, watching Saturday morning cartoons and reading aloud and doing all the voices and all of that stuff. I think I grew up in a household where that was uh, just what you did was just not common knowledge, whatever it's just the default, I guess. And so when it came to reading aloud in class, always, of course it's given. I'm gonna want to read in class. I'm gonna want to do the school play. I'm gonna want to um, do those things in a way that, I mean, I guess it could have been, I don't know, sports or something, and my life would have been very different. But I think that there's a sort of natural assumption of what people are going to do, and for me, it didn't happen to be, instruments or something like that. It was reading aloud and acting and reading.
Did you have someone you looked up to, like someone that inspired you to act, or maybe put you, or made you want to go harder in acting?
That's a good question. I kind of feel like because I watched so much TV and so many movies, I think it was more just a given. I don't
Mm.
You know what? What I'll say is that even after I had sort of just assumed like, "Oh, well, that's what I'm gonna be doing is just this that I've been doing since I could read, I'm just gonna keep doing
Yeah.
that." So the assumption about performing in some way or being an actor, that was just a given. In terms of things that clicked, I do think that literally X-Men the animated series and Batman the animated series in very distinct ways just sort of opened my eyes to like, oh, somebody's doing that as a job.
Mhm.
That's a thing. Somebody's making that forming that character,
I
and
didn't know
then
you was into DC.
oh, yeah, a little. I mean, it's the
If
same
you could
with
play any DC character, who would it be?
oh gosh, who could I play?
Yeah, who would you want to play? Now, who could you play? Who would you want to play?
Somebody who's good at hand-to-hand combat, who's good at the just grappling and fighting and stuff like that. As far as their powers, I mean, I always liked Rogue because of the super strength and the
Mhm.
flight, um, but also Nightcrawler because teleportation and just whimsy and the blue fuzziness but
You love a Nightcrawler, huh?
I love Nightcrawler. I also like Beast. I mean, Blue Fur is like it's just so much fun. Um, But yeah, Nightcrawler's having a moment, and that's fine with me.
Yeah, I love
Um,
it. I'm loving it.
yeah. But so DC, I always did find DC a little more boring than Marvel. Sorry. I mean, I guess I don't have to be that sorry. They haven't cast me. Marvel has. So, um, I always found like Justice League like a little bit boring, but JLU, honestly, the Justice League Unlimited was such a good show. It was such a good show that I feel like it got
Yeah,
me
it
interested
definitely
in
was.
characters that didn't have their due, really didn't have their own shows. Like I liked what they did with Vigilante. It was so fun. I liked what they did with I feel like it's a kind of
You know which one was one of my favorite DC shows? The
mm,
Young Justice.
Young Justice is great. I haven't brought that up because I watched, I think, the first 2 seasons, and then a long time elapsed. I don't have HBO, and so finally, I think I have a chance to watch them. But I went back and started over, and so I'm only midway through season 1 again. So I kind of don't
Mhm.
remember what all happened. I do remember that they had some fights in Atlantis, right? And it
Yeah.
was really cool that I think Aquaman wasn't even around. It was like some of the students and Queen Mira and stuff like that were having a lesson or something. And so there was a big battle, and I loved how powerful she was. She, I think, summoned this giant octopus that just grabbed the whoever
Yeah.
it was the bad guy was. And it's the sort of what we love about X-97, right? Is that um things were things were badass, but kind of a little bit tame, just given, the constraints of whatever the censors wanted, or, they couldn't throw punches. They could use their power. They could blast, but they couldn't throw punches. They couldn't, all that stuff. So I feel like part of what makes X-97 so killer is just the imagination of our storyboard artists, our writers, like whoever comes up with those fight sequences. Like the leash is off, right? So they can
Yeah,
write in whatever they want, and they're so
and I
creative.
love
I
the
mean, last night
combos.
again, yeah, the combos, but like again, last in last night's episode, right? Beast slapping the Sentinel with its own hand. Like, who came up with that? Because I would like to shake his hand, or
Yeah,
their
because
hand.
two things I love, really, really love about X-Men 97 when it comes to the action. One, I love the combos. Gambit jumping on Wolverine's back, lighting
Absolutely.
up
And
his
it's clear,
claws.
and I keep saying this too to Jake and whoever, but like it's so clear in all the fight sequences, from the beginning, not just the fight sequences, but the fall sequences, that they have these contingency plans. They have maneuvers, right? They
Mhm.
have uh God. Maneuvers. What, there was a name for it, but I guess it's a combo name, or the name of a maneuver. Like they've planned for every situation that they can, and they've had drills for this, clearly, so they know what to do. There's no like, oh, they're all falling out of a plane. There's no like, ah, what do we do? Call out orders.
Yeah,
It's like nod,
they got a
nod,
plan for
and
it.
everybody knows what to do.
I love
Um,
and my favorite, a couple of standout moments in the recent episode when Morph, I love Morph. Just because
yes,
we get to see other characters every time he's on
absolutely, and
screen.
they're making such good use of Morph in a way
Mhm.
that again, either wasn't available to them back in the 90s,
Exactly.
or just, did I have to think
And
that it wasn't available because
they're
of like
giving
being able to use
everybody
them.
a standout moment in
Mhm.
the series. Like
Everybody gets
every
their due.
single
Yeah.
character has a really great standout moment. Now, what do you feel like is the biggest misconception about voice acting?
Mm. That it's very lucrative for very little work.
Mm,
Because the idea from anybody, and it's mostly people who aren't actors, period. I don't hear this from other actors who aren't voice actors. I hear it a lot from people who aren't actors, period. And so I think probably they have this misconception about actors in general. But for voice, so this misconception that it doesn't that it's that you can just do it, that
mm,
it doesn't take any training or technique, that it's just a matter of getting the opportunities. um and um and then the idea that for on camera, anything, or theater or whatever, that how you look is an element. So then the thought is like, oh well, take that away and voiceover is anybody's game, and anybody can get into it, and you make Simpsons money. That's the misconception. But like, have you looked at scale rates? Because
mm.
like, it's great. It's I love doing this work, and we keep trying to pursue this work, but it is work that requires training, that requires experience, that requires preparation. Um and it's work that requires you to enjoy doing the work, because the money's not gonna be like um Scrooge McDuck money. It's not money. It's not money for you're not getting money for nothing.
Yeah.
And for the most part, this is true of every person in every industry feels this way, but it like sometimes, oftentimes, is not enough money for the work. But
Are there any lines that you may have said or heard from your character Jubilee that resonates with you personally?
hmm, from the version that I've voiced, especially in X97, the conversations that have been had between Jubilee and Roberto have resonated with a lot of people. And so the it's somewhat the advice that she gives, but it's a lot the position that Roberto expresses being in. Be an X-Man Jubilee, I don't even want to be myself.
Mhm.
I don't look what happens when we're too and I'm like a lot of these parallels obviously are for well, you can apply them to whatever you want them to be, and may not be either queer or whatever else it can be uh seen in these parables. But I think everybody can identify with not feeling safe to be themselves, and not feeling or feeling like they have to pick and choose their battles, um and not feeling uh not not sort of being ready, or to be willing to go explore what their final form is, because it's
Yeah.
Jubilee has tried to encourage Roberto to like be yourself and all that stuff. But sort of the problem around this age is that we're not really sure what that is, and it's
We're still
so
learning.
yeah, and it's not being able to be yourself, but not even having the space or the safety to go figure out what that is that you are then gonna, be willing to risk things for.
Definitely. Now, I've also seen that you are in another one of my favorite shows. Hands down. I literally, when it came out, I said, this is the best anime of the year, and that's Blue-Eyed Samurai.
Hmm.
Are you going to be in season 2, or can we expect the season 2? Because the way it ended was kind of like, oh, there's, other colonists that she's going after.
I'm not I in even in season 1, I'm not throughout season 1. I'm really only in the first episode, and sort of a not throwaway character, but a character that's really in that one setting and doesn't come back. I think I may have another couple of voices here and there, like in the background, or somebody whimpering in a flashback or something like that. But I'm not a major enough character that
Well, I
that
hope they get you a character role in that series, because I love Blue Eyed Samurai.
it's pretty killer, and it's doing well. I just whatever what if they have anything for me, I'm of course happy to do it.
Are there any upcoming or ongoing animes you would like to be a part of?
Oh, any of them, all of them. Y- hire me, somebody. Anybody that I can trick into giving me a job. Yes, I would like to do that, please. Thank you. Oh, you know what? I saw a deadline article, a headline for like Tony Hawk there's some show called Skatebirds in development, and I think the development company is somebody in Canada. So I don't even know if U.S. actors and whoever are gonna get a shot at it, but I did text JB Ballard, who's one of the season 1 writers on X-Men 97, because we've talked about my love of Tony Hawk. And so we're like, yo, how can we get on this show? He's like, I'm gonna pitch myself right now. Um, we'll see. God, what else? I mean, there's so much exciting stuff. I think More superheroes. I would love to be more superheroes. You know, a lot of the phenomenal cast on JLU.
And also, let's talk about the conventions and your social media, right?
Oh god.
Because
Or lack thereof.
yeah, I'm gonna tell you something, right? Look, when X-Men before the first episode came out, I went searching for the cast because
Oh.
I'm a huge fan of the original animated series. So when I first seen your name, I'm like, all right, let me go to Instagram. No Instagram. All right, let me go to her Twitter. No Twitter. I'm like, she's got to be a ghost. So everybody, even Guy Augustini, shout out my man. He came on the show and I'm like, how do I get a hold of her? He's like, man, hopefully I think she just made an Instagram. And I looked, I was like, yes, finally. And I was like, so tell us a little about your, about how X-Men 97 has, the conventions going crazy. Cause I know you've been to some, I seen your Instagrams. I seen all the fans you embrace, they embracing you. They gotta be loving you at this point. Tell us a little bit about your experiences with these conventions and with the love that you're getting on social media.
Well, so far I haven't done that many conventions. I've really only done one. It was WonderCon that a
That's a
lot of the
big
cast
one.
did together. Yeah. And then a lot of the other cast have been doing other signings. I'm sort of I'm taking my time sort of getting set up for those. I think my first sort of signing event is going to be at, is it announced? Well, if when it's confirmed, I think it's gonna be June. And I think it's like mid-June, and I think it's in the LA area. So keep an eye out for that. Um, but yeah, it is fun. For me personally, I think part of the reason that I don't have a huge social media presence is just it's a lot. It's a lot. And so I'm not great at um sort of light interaction, just sort of like a one-off. I'm like, oh, if I reply to this comment, I feel like I have to like reply to every single person who commented, and I feel like it has to be like an ongoing conversation, and I don't have time for that. So
Yeah,
instead,
understandable.
I just don't make myself available for any of that, and I rarely post and I rarely look at stuff. Every now and then, if I happen to be lurking, or if I went on to, check messages or something like that, and I happen to see something, now maybe I'll just like drop something and run. But yeah, I think it's just time, and um, I think it's way too easy for me, and somehow the way my brain works, to just like get to, like you just start saying just like, oh, what a nice thing. And then like 7 hours later, you're like, it's dark. I haven't eaten. I like didn't get any of the stuff that I need to get done today.
It
Um,
is time consuming once you're really on social media, so that's
Yeah, and
understandable.
I've always been like that. I think so. I'm old enough that Facebook sort of started when I was in college, and everybody's on it. I was like, how do you have time to do that? Don't you? I like I have to. I'm in classes all day, and then I have rehearsal, and then I have to write this paper, and then I like So I just after I graduated college, I finally, I think, put a picture on it, and a bunch of people, some of my friends were like, welcome to Facebook and something. So it was handy for a little bit to keep in touch with people, but it just became more like, well, if we're going to be in touch, we're probably in touch, via email or texting or something like that, or I see them. So I think I sort of dropped off of all of it. Well, I only had a Facebook, and then I think I mostly dropped out of it, I don't know, like 2014, 15, something like that. I'll still sometimes look for messages, or if I'm, on the buy nothing. But other than that, that's yeah. And then so Instagram, I got one. I actually did have it before X97. But it
Wow.
was I got it after I did this series called Players, and everybody in that cast, it was an on camera, a live action show, and everybody in that cast was, I think, like a good around 10 years younger than I am. And so everybody was on it, and they were all like promote. And when it came time to promote the show, I was like, I guess, I'll be able to put some Getty images of us on the, red carpet at the premiere party or something like that. So I think
Yeah.
I got it for that. And then you know, if I wasn't actively promoting something, or if I wasn't actively involved in something, then I mostly wasn't on it. So now with X97, my feed is like flooded with, it's all X97 stuff, which is great once in a while. But I'm not, you know, actively looking, you know, it's not a great way to keep in touch with people
Yeah.
that I actually know. It's not a great way to it's definitely not a great way to try to reach out to me like for professional stuff. So like every now and then I feel the pressure of like, oh, okay, I gotta look. Was anybody trying to reach me or whatever? Refer them to my email, and then I can like drop out of it for a little bit. You know, it's fun, but it is it's a lot of of activity that doesn't come naturally to me, I feel. So it is very sort of effortful to me. I think Guy is somebody who is just like, oh yeah, well, we're here, great, let's throw on a live, you know. And I'm like, I didn't do my, I don't have any makeup on, I didn't what are we gonna talk, how what like do I have to, who's what is this about? What's the
Yeah,
information that
yeah.
we need in
Gee
order
is
to?
camera ready, man. Gee is camera
Right,
ready.
right. I'm of a certain age, and I'm a girl, and the you know the
Yeah, women, man.
you
Hey,
know
my hair ain't done. Don't even try it.
the standards are unfortunately different, you know.
True indeed. True
So I'm
indeed.
gonna get more shit if like, I don't know. And to what extent do I care about if I get shit in the comments or, you know, whatever, who cares? But for most of it, I'm just like, you know what? I have stuff to do. I'm just not gonna worry about this. I sent a joke to everybody else that I thought it would be really funny. I'm not gonna do it, but it did occur to me that it would be super funny if, like, you know, me being basically a ghost and having no real presence, that, like, in the trailer, for the episode that's out now, we see, everybody sort of prepping, and we see, Jubilee, burn the business card that she got from Roberto in the first episode, right?
Yeah.
And so people were speculating, which is fun, which is what they should do, right? And somebody said something, like, very mild and very innocuous about, it wasn't even, like, trashing anybody, it was just like, "Oh, looks like, Roberto did something, and Jubilee's mad," or whatever, and, like, I thought it would be really funny if I, who, like, never says anything to anybody ever, just signed in, like, used my name and account and wrote, "Fuck you." And then just, like, never elaborated, never said anything about it, never
That would
explained it.
actually be funny because they'll be like, "Oh, she's mad at
Right, but
Roberto."
then never come back, never say anything, never justify it, never explain, and never comment on anything else ever again. That's what I think would be hilarious, but I don't think it would go off that way. I don't think you can get away with it because people can find you and then ask you about it.
Definitely, they will find you, especially now that man, you are popping right now. Jubilee is such a beloved X-Men character, man. Much success to you. I can't wait to see more. I'm excited for season 2 already, and season 1 ain't even over.
Woo!
So, and we heard season 3 is also in development. So, congratulations with that. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming
I
on
have
the
to say,
show.
I don't know any confirmation about season 3. Like, I keep hearing about it, but, like, I haven't heard anything, like,
Oh man, I hope
official
they don't
about
kill
that.
you off season 2, man. I'm gonna boycott it. Nah, but
I'm just saying,
le-
I don't know. Is season 3 real? I haven't heard
I
that from
think
any
they
of
said it.
the,
They said they want to do more seasons of X-Men and make it like a
they
yearly
meaning
thing.
Marvel
So
said? Meaning who?
let me can
Well,
I
you
check
email
right
me the
now?
sources later afterwards,
Yeah,
but, like,
it was on one of the mediums.
well, here's the thing, you can't rely on what the mediums say, though. Who said, like, you have
True,
to
you're
see
right
who
about
said it.
that.
That's all I'm saying, is that I didn't hear it from anybody official. I think it'd be cool if they're talking about it, cool, but, like, I ain't heard nothing from
Oh, you better believe with
people,
the amount of money they're making off just merchandise, toys,
right? From me, from the cast.
yeah,
Just
the reviews. I've never seen Marvel get reviews like this, especially with everything that they've been giving us lately. Some fans are having mixed emotions about certain movies, certain
mm,
shows. X-Men.
universal
E-
praise. Yeah.
yeah, even the people who hate Marvel, they're like, no, this right here is great storytelling. This right here, great animation. This right here is
They will,
great voice acting,
yeah.
because some episodes, like when you hear Rogue or Storm and their dialogue and their emotions, even with Jubilee at Gambit's wedding, and the emotions come out of you, You
Funeral
that's
not
like a
ready.
gut punch. You like, ooh. It's like so I love what the work that you all are doing. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Let everybody know where they can find you at on social media.
So I do have an Instagram. It's at Holly Chou, and Chou is spelled CHOU. And then I have an X account. What is it? I'm like never on it. I basically Allison Court and I were texting and she's like, "Well, that's what I'm on." So I'm like, "Okay." And then I like almost never look at it. Oh, it's the same. It's the same except without the last two characters because there's a limit. So it's like Holy Cow, Holly Ch is pretty much what it is.
Well, thank you once again for coming on the show. And heroes, villains, if you want to see more interviews from your favorite heroes and villains from around the world, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And also make sure you catch XMen 97 on Disney Plus, episodes 1 through 9 streaming now. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And heroes, we out.
Sing it with me, pretty Cali, pretty